Look, can I just start with the more urgent matter, which is Prince Harry dropping his libel claim against associated newspapers? Oh, he's got to pick up the bill now, has he? I mean, how much is he on the hook for here?
Yeah, he certainly does have to pick up the bill. He's a very wealthy man. I think we all know that, with his helicopters and all sorts. Sometimes he might be getting in those. May he not own them, but he's still getting them. But that's a whole other argument, which I won't even get into. But it will cost allegedly around £750,000. That's for his legal fees and their legal fees. But he does have 3 other cases which he will be bringing against others, which I'm sure we'll be hearing and discussing more on this programme at a later date. But this is quite surprising, and I don't think this is the start of the year that Prince Harry wanted. He ended last year on quite a positive note for him against Mirror Group newspapers with a partial win. So I'm not sure in the long term this is what he wanted, but I'm sure there's always a plan, isn't there, with Harry? And I'm sure he's getting lots of advice as we speak about the other 3 cases which will be going through the courts.
No, indeed. I mean, you might want to question some of that advice, really, because there was no need to have strung this one along for as long as possible if you were just going to drop it at the end and, like you said there, end up on the hook for, allegedly anyway, £750,000 worth of legal fees. I think people will be seriously questioning what that level of advice was there. But let's also just deal now with this idea of a slimmed-down monarchy, which potentially is backfired, right? Because we have the king who's got certain issues, as we understand it, with an enlarged prostate, which I think he, for some reason, decided to make public, allegedly because he wanted to raise awareness amongst the male community. Fair enough. You've got Kate now with a somewhat mystery abdominal issue and the knock-on effect that that's had with William as well. Was a slimmed-down monarchy actually the right thing to do? I suppose he didn't have that much of a choice, did he, if Harry has done one and Prince Andrew has done what he's allegedly done?
Yeah, no, I suppose this is very much seeing it in action in the worst case scenario, isn't it? Let's be honest. You've got, him out of action and you've got the Princess of Wales out of action. But Anne was the busiest working royal last year, so I'm sure we'll be relying on her. We've also got Edwin and Sophie, who are very much in the fold. But it does bring into question, Eugenie, Beatrice, but then, of course, they're daughters of Prince Andrew, which you have obviously just said yourself. That's a whole nother situation. But this time of year is quite quiet for the royals. So I think, if this was going to happen at any time, probably now would be the time to do it in the least disrespectful way possible.
There are rumblings that Harry found out about his father's illness through a media bulletin. I think there was some claim that he also found out, wasn't there, about the Queen's death through a news bulletin as well. Firstly, do you believe that? And secondly, if that is the case, is that just the price he has to pay now for being so untrustworthy?
This is all speculative, obviously, but this is the cost of living on the other side of the world. You're not within, a few miles of one another. You're literally the other side of the world in a completely different time zone. So unfortunately, because you're not a senior member of the family anymore, I'm not sure where you're going to be in terms of formal arrangements when it comes down to health issues. Of course, he is still a member of the family, but there is business to be done. It is a business. They are a working family. And of course, that will come first, given their extremely huge jobs that they'll have to deal with in an ever-changing society, which brings into question the working royals as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think that anybody could expect, under moments of stress and health issues and with turmoil going on, that is when a family closes ranks, isn't it? And if somebody has deliberately chosen to operate on the outskirts of that family, then I'm afraid that's the price that you get.